Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Everything you need to know. Part 3.
How does Steven Spielberg feel about Dial of Destiny? After directing the last 4 Indiana Jones pictures, one cannot help but wonder how Steven Spielberg feels about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. As a primary visionary for the character, whose works have become hallmarks of Hollywood ingenuity and creativity, a Spielberg-less Indiana Jones movie is something that's sort of impossible to even imagine. Of course, the filmmaker is still involved in the production and serves as an executive producer alongside George Lucas, but he isn't working as closely with series star Harrison Ford this time around. But regardless of his time, or lack thereof, on set, Spielberg is still the authority on all things Indiana Jones, which makes his thoughts on James Mangold's Dial of Destiny all the more exciting. When the lights came up, I just turned to the group and said, "Damn, I thought I was the only one who knew how to make one of these," Spielberg told Variety after watching the film at a Disney executive screening. "Everybody loved the movie. It's a really, really good Indiana Jones film. I'm really proud of what Mangold has done with it." That's high praise coming from the man who before this single-handedly directed all of the characters' biggest on-screen adventures. With Spielberg on board, our hopes for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny have only gotten higher, giving this installment the potential for this to be one of the best of the 5-part series.
Will Short Round return? With Indy's favorite Egyptian excavator Salah returning for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, many have wondered if other fan favorites might return for this final installment as well. Among the most requested is Ke Huy Quan's Short Round, a character he played in 1984's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Before this past year, Quan was possibly best known for his work as Short Round and Data in The Goonies, which was released the following year. In 2022, Quan rose to international stardom after the success of the multiversal drama Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, where he played Wayman Wang, which earned him an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. After all these years, Quan is doing well for himself. Though Quan and Harrison Ford shared a tearful Temple of Doom reunion at Disney's D23 convention in 2022, the actor has insisted that he is not reuniting as Short Round for Dial of Destiny. "I want to say I'll be in it, but no," Quan told ET when discussing his potential return. "Here's the thing, I don't want to disappoint the fans. I've joked about it all the time, but reuniting with Harrison after 38 years, that was very special." With this being Harrison Ford's final adventure as Indiana Jones, and Quan unlikely to reprise his role as Short Round in a spin-off venture, it seems as if fans are going to have to settle for the off-screen reunion between these two stars.
Will Marion Ravenwood appear? As Indy's original love interest, Karen Allen's Marion Ravenwood is the only recurring female character in the Indiana Jones chronology. First appearing in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Marion and Dr. Jones have a steamy romantic history, and upon being reunited, they resume their previous affairs, at least for a while. Since the sequel, Temple of Doom, took place a year before the events of the first film, and The Last Crusade focused primarily on Indy's relationship with his father, Marion was written out of the next 2 sequels entirely. That is, until Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where Alan appears with their son and manages to finally put a ring on the elderly archaeologist's finger. When Spielberg and Lucas first began developing the 5th Indiana Jones film, Alan expressed initial interest in returning as Marion once again. "I mean, we're married now, so it'll be difficult, I think, to move forward without her," the actress told MovieWeb back in 2011. But ever since, there has been no official comment regarding Alan or Marion's inclusion in Dial of Destiny, though director James Mangold has confirmed that we'll learn more about what happened to her and Indy's son, Mutt Williams.
How is Paramount Pictures involved? For nearly 30 years, the Indiana Jones series was distributed by motion picture giant Paramount Pictures after Spielberg and Lucas made a deal for 5 Indiana Jones pictures with the distributor. The famed mountain logo has appeared at the beginning of each Indy flick, from 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark through 2008's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and has become somewhat synonymous with Harrison Ford's globetrotting adventures. Of course, nothing in Hollywood is eternal, and after Lucasfilm sold to the Walt Disney Company in 2012, Paramount's involvement in any future Indiana Jones installments was subject to change, and change it did. Though Paramount retained their initial distribution rights for the first 4 films in the series, hence why all 4 Indiana Jones films are currently available on Paramount Plus and not Disney Plus, the House of Mouse owns distribution rights to any future films made. While Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a co-production between Lucasfilm and Disney, the first Indiana Jones film, not solely produced by Lucasfilm Limited, Paramount Pictures has received an associate credit on the latest Indy picture, with an undisclosed financial participation as well. How this all works behind the scenes is something of a mystery, but it is clear that the cooperation between Disney and Paramount has only helped Indiana Jones going forward. Still, replacing the Snow-Capped Mountain with the Disneyland Castle will be hard to adjust to.
How does this fit into the Indiana Jones timeline? Unlike most action films, the Indiana Jones pictures weren't released strictly in chronological order. While Indiana Jones and the Dial of the Destiny is the final feature in the Indiana Jones saga, parts of it fit between some of Indy's other adventures. The first film chronologically on the Indy timeline is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which takes place in 1935. Only a year later, the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark unfold, which see Indy and Marion fight a bunch of Nazis in search of the Old Testament relic, the Ark of the Covenant. A few years after that, in 1939, Indiana Jones and Last Crusade takes place, but not before a flashback to Indy's time as a youth, played by River Phoenix, set in 1912. This is as far back as a feature film's venture. Though released in 2008, Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull takes place in 1957 during the Cold War. Here, an older Indy finds long-lost son Mutt, marries Marion, and discovers the existence of extraterrestrials, interdimensionals. Though there will be flashbacks to 1944, set over a decade before Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and 5 years after The Last Crusade, the majority of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is set in 1969. This will be the furthest forward Indy has ever ventured into the 20th century.
Will Dial of Destiny be Indy's Logan? Described by director James Mangold as a hero at sunset, Indy's 5th and final big-screen adventure is his swan song. And while that's sad on some level, there is plenty of mystery and excitement to attach to that statement. Possibly best known for directing the final 2 installments of Fox's Wolverine trilogy, Mangold is no stranger to telling an action hero's final tale. The 2017 film Logan closed the book on Hugh Jackman's long-running X-Men, at least until Marvel Studios opened it up again and told the definitive Wolverine story for a generation. Here, fans are anxious to see if Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny will follow the same tone and effectively be Indy's Logan story. What does a hero do when the world no longer has a place for him? Mangold asked Entertainment Weekly rhetorically. I find it really interesting to try to look at classical heroes through the prism of our jaundiced contemporary attitudes. The director went on to compare Dial of Destiny and Logan, but reassured fans that his latest film's tone would remain faithfully Indy. I am under no illusion that my job making an Indiana Jones film was to suddenly beat the humor out of it and turn it into some kind of dirge, he continued, emphasizing that this is an Indiana Jones film and not another installment to the X-Men universe. Thankfully, Mangold seems to understand Indy's grizzled humor enough to keep it intact.
So what's next for the Indiana Jones franchise? After Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2012, fans wondered how the House of Mouse might continue the Indiana Jones franchise. While Star Wars has been Disney's primary priority following the buyout, projects like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and the Disney Plus series Willow prove there is more to Lucasfilm's catalog than the famed space opera. After Dial of Destiny was greenlit and it was announced that this will be Harrison Ford's last outing as an action hero, many speculated that Disney will attempt to reboot Indiana Jones through a series of prequels. For a while, though, it looked like that might be a possibility. In 2022, Variety reported that a prequel series set before the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and probably Temple of Doom was in the works at Disney Plus, but by 2023, other sources implied that the series, which would have been the first Indy prequel since the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, had been scrapped entirely. In April 2023, Screen Rant reported that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny would close out the Indiana Jones franchise for good. While this news seems pretty final, recent years have proven that nothing is permanent in Hollywood, and while we shouldn't expect a reboot anytime soon, it'll be surprising if Disney and Lucasfilm opted never to return to Indiana Jones in the future.